Alright guys, welcome to this short video where we are going to talk about how to write a computer program that implements our algorithm from yesterday. So if you recall, we learned how to convert from the decimal base 10 number system into the binary base 2 number system. So basically, like the first example we saw was we took the number 19 and we converted it into a bunch of ones and zeros, right? And how did that algorithm work? Well, we took 19 and we divided it by 2. And we got a quotient, in this case 9, and a remainder, in this case 1. This remainder of 1 is going to be the rightmost digit in the binary representation of the decimal number 19. Now, what you noticed yesterday, hopefully, is that we keep repeating this process while our quotient is greater than 0. So we take our quotient 9 and we now divide that by 2. 2 goes into 9 4 times with a remainder of 1. This remainder of 1 is our second to the rightmost digit of our binary representation of the number 19. Keep repeating. Take that quotient 4. How many times does 2 go into 4? It goes in twice with a remainder of 0. And we keep repeating this while our quotient is greater than 0. 2 goes into 2 one time with a remainder of 0. Take this final quotient of 1 here. 2 goes into 1 0 times with a remainder of 1. This quotient coming up as 0 is our indication that this algorithm is coming to an end. We keep repeating this quotient remainder process while our quotient is greater than 0. Now that our quotient has reached 0, we take this final remainder of 1 and we're finished. Now you'll notice that this algorithm, the remainders that we got are the digits of our binary number in reverse. So this first dark red 1 is the rightmost digit. This pink number 1, the second remainder, is the second to the rightmost digit, so on and so forth, and we get the binary number 10011. So you can see that there's a little bit of reversing going on here. So you're going to imagine that the algorithm we're going to write is probably going to need to maybe do some reversing. We've seen that before when we did our binary to decimal algorithm as well. Alright, so I've got everything set up and ready to go. I've got my base 10 to base 2 calculator that's not working yet. I've also got my blank template here. Now you could play with it. You can put something in here and see that, whatever, convert to binary, it says undefined. That's because we have not written the code to convert to binary yet. Now, there's basically two main pieces to this website, two main pieces to our computer code that we have to write. We need to get our decimal to binary function working. This decimal to binary function takes a decimal number as input, so that there's one parameter, and it takes an integer as its parameter, and then the return value is going to be a binary number represented as a string, 1011 or 111000011. And what does this function do? Well, it takes a number in decimal and converts it to binary. By the way, all the sentences I just said, if you wanted to pause right now, I just did part of your homework for you. Up here where it says student task, add a descriptive comment here. This is describe what this function does. And then the parameters are basically what pieces of data go in this case an integer goes in, an integer in base 10 to be precise, and then return value, what comes out. Well, what comes out, the output here, is our decimal number represented in binary, and it's actually going to be a string, technically speaking. Now, there's two other functions in this computer program, and these other two functions kind of work together to do the other half of this project, which is the part of the project that actually concatenates a descriptive message and displays it on the screen. So this display output, you can see it has a to-do right here. Let's see, it has two parameters. What are the two parameters going to be for display output? Well, basically it's going to take your number in base 10 and your number in binary, and it's going to concatenate and display a descriptive output. It'll say something like the number 255 in decimal is the number 11111, however, 6 ones in binary. or similarly, it might say the number 2 in decimal is the number 10 in binary. We need to concatenate that message. And then we have another function down here called convert. Now convert's a little unique. This one doesn't have any parameters, and it doesn't have a return value. Notice that there's nothing between the parentheses here, so under parameters you're going to say none. And for return value, it literally does not have a return statement. Just like display output, it doesn't have a return statement. So technically there's no return value. You could say none for that as well. Anyway, let's see how this website basically works. What you'll see is down in your HTML, down in line 71, I have an onClick equals convert. Oh, so upon clicking this button, the convert function is called. Okay, so when we call the convert function, the set of steps inside of this function named convert will be executed. And it looks to me like almost all of this function's done. I defined a variable named decimal number and another variable named binary number. Let's see, var binary number is, I'm going to call the decimal to binary function, and I'm going to pass to it the decimal number. So basically what decimal to binary will do is it will take this decimal number, it will then return the binary equivalent, and we're going to store that binary number in the variable we named binary number. And then finally, we're going to display a descriptive output using that decimal number and that binary number. This might sound a little confusing, but really all it is we need to take data out of the text box, convert that data in the text box to binary, and then display a little message. So our to-do right here, we need to add one line of code and one line of code only. It's going to be decimal number equals document.getElement by ID, ID desnum dot value. Here's what this line of code does. So you guys can type this along with me if you'd like, but what this line of code does is it goes into the website and it grabs whatever the person typed into the text box. Now, you can double click this ID desnum, it'll turn green, and then right below, you're going to see there's another version of it that's green. This is the text box that we're grabbing data from. So the convert function grabs the decimal number from the text box, then this next line of code passes that decimal number to our decimal to binary function, and it returns its binary equivalent. I'm going to store those ones and zeros in a variable named binary number. And then now this is kind of a signal that it's time to write our next function, display output, because now we're going to take that decimal number and that binary number, and we want to use those to display some sort of descriptive message. The number 2 in decimal is the number 10 in binary, or whatever the case may be. So now I've double clicked display output so it turns green. Let's scroll up and find its match. Here it is, the function display output. All we're going to do, it's kind of like Mad Libs. We're basically doing Mad Libs here. We are going to write we're going to concatenate a descriptive little message. So var output gets a variable ready, gets a container ready to hold some data. Now into that data, I'm going to put output equals item 1. Item 1 being, eventually it's going to be, this is a placeholder right now, but eventually item 1 is going to be our decimal number. So we're starting with our decimal number. Then I'm going to say output plus equals. I'm going to concatenate onto that output variable the words in decimal is. Notice I'm putting a space at the beginning and a space at the end. Those spaces will help display this message in a logical fashion. I have some spaces between the sentence, in the sentence. Now I'm going to concatenate onto that, plus equals item 2. So item 1 will be something like 2, and then in decimal is, and then eventually this will be 10. Oh, and then we need to say in binary. And then put a period at the end of your sentence. And then the rest of the code was written for you here. Then we go into the website, we go into the document, we find the HTML element that has the ID of ID div, and between those two div tags, the inner HTML of those two div tags, we're going to inject our output. I'm double clicking ID div here. If you scroll on down, you'll see, okay, so basically our data is going to be injected right here between these two div tags. I can save this. We can see what it does, right? We'll have some progress here. So why don't I put in the decimal number of 2? Oh, okay, we're almost done, right? 2 in decimal is undefined in binary. Why is that undefined? Because I haven't written the function that converts decimal to binary yet. You should check and see if your website has made it this far. And if it's made it this far, then you can keep on working with me. If it's not, now would be a good time to pause, look at that answer key you have, and try to fix your code. Anyway, let's scroll on up. And we have one last function to define. Literally, this output says undefined because the function decimal to binary right now has not been fully defined. I made a little skeleton for the function, but the majority of the work is still left to do. Good news here. I think a lot of the hard work that we need to do, you already know how to do. When we looked at the PowerPoint at the beginning, you saw that while our quotient was greater than 0, we were repeating basically a quotient and a remainder. And we kept repeating a quotient dividing by 2 and a remainder from that division by 2. And then a quotient from dividing by 2 and a remainder from dividing by 2. And we keep doing that while our quotient is greater than 0. I'm literally going to write a while loop. That's what I'm setting up here. Anyway, what I do want to do is get binary string ready to go. Binary string is going to be an empty string that we're going to concatenate ones and zeros onto. So I'm getting binary string equals an empty string here, just so it's ready. Now I'm going to say while decimal number is greater than 0. Decimal number is going to be storing essentially our quotients. Decimal number is going to get smaller each time we divide it by 2. So decimal number is storing, originally it's our decimal number, that's our first quotient, right, is whatever number we're trying to convert into binary. But each time we're going to take decimal number and cut it in half. That's going to be our quotient, essentially. So anyway, while decimal number is greater than 0, while our quotient is greater than 0, I'm going to say var remainder equals decimal number %2. Remember, decimal number %2, what that means is this is the remainder when we divide decimal number by 2, when we divide our quotient by 2. So this is getting, it's either going to be a 1 or a 0. The remainder when you divide a number by 2 is either a 1 or a 0. So this is going to be a 1 or a 0 that's going to get concatenated onto our binary string. It's going to be a digit of our binary number. Now binary string plus equals remainder. I'm going to concatenate that 1 or that 0 onto my binary string. I'm going to start gluing together ones and zeros. Then I'm going to say decimal number equals math.floor decimal number divided by 2. Oh, we learned what that is yesterday. Math.floor of decimal number divided by 2. This is the quotient, the whole number quotient from dividing decimal number by 2. It's the integer division of dividing decimal number by 2. Basically, it does this division and then it rounds it down to the next smaller whole number, which will be our quotient. Anyway, this while loop is going to just do its thing. It's going to keep repeating this process. It's going to look exactly like that little PowerPoint slide you guys saw. I showed it to you guys yesterday. I made a little table. Now this is with hexadecimal, but it's the same idea. It's basically going to run through a table like this. It's going to be like, okay, I'm going to do a math.floor and I'm going to get a remainder. Now I'm going to do a math.floor with that quotient and I'm going to get a remainder. Then I'm going to do a math.floor with the next quotient and I'm going to get a remainder. And I'm going to keep repeating that till my decimal number, until my quotient drops down to 0. And once my decimal number drops down to 0, that's my signal that my algorithm's over. And then I've got these, in this case, these are hexadecimal digits, but in the algorithm we're doing right now, they're ones or zeros. So let's do it. We've got binary string is storing all of those ones and zeros. The only thing we need to remember is, I think we need to reverse the ones and zeros because these were getting plus equaled backwards. Remember that the first digit that you get from this algorithm is actually the rightmost digit of your binary representation. So right now, binary string is like the right answer, but in reverse. We already know how to reverse. It's like a three-step process. It's a var binary array equals binary string dot split. I'm going to split on an empty string. Now this is a really common place to type things wrong. Be really careful right here. This split, there's a quotation mark, then no space, and then another quotation mark. That's going to turn my ones and zeros into an array of ones and zeros. Why am I doing that? Well, because arrays have this cool method built into them where I can reverse them. I just say binary array dot reverse. Don't forget the open close parentheses right here after reverse. That's necessary. Then I can glue it all back together. So I can say binary string equals binary array dot join. And this is open and close quotes right here with no space inside of it. So it's basically split into an array, reverse the digits, join it all back together, and then I'm going to return that binary string. Now I'm going to save this, make sure it's working the way I want it to. The simplest conversion we could do is the number 2 becomes 1, 0 in binary. Other good numbers to test if you want to see this work well is like 1 less than a power of 2 I know is all ones. So like 255 should be like 6 ones or something like that. Or more than that actually, but so yeah, 255 in decimal is 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. You could do some crazy ones. You could do something like, let's see, I know 4096 is a power of 2, so if I do 4095, like that's a lot of ones there. You could try any other number you want, right? Like I know the number 3 should be 1, 1. It works. I know the number 4 should be 1, 0, or 1, 0, 0, my bad. And there it is. So anyway, this algorithm is working swimmingly. Like things are going very well. Now the one thing to remember is you are in charge of filling in these descriptive comments before each of these functions. And the other thing that you might find helpful is maybe putting some comments into this function. Let's do that together. So I'm going to say right here for binary string, I'm saying initialize binary string to an empty string. We will concatenate ones and zeros onto this. Now the while loop, basically what we can say here is keep calculating quotients and remainders until we reach a quotient of 0. That's our signal that we're done, right? Keep calculating quotients and remainders until we reach a quotient of 0. The other thing you should probably point out is binary string gets the remainder concatenated at each iteration. At each step of the while loop, we get another 1 or 0 concatenated onto binary string. For example, well, let me show you guys an example here. Let me make up a number. Let's say 57. The number 57 in decimal is 111001 in binary. Now, example, 57 will get binary string to equal the string. Oops, sorry, let me scroll back down here. I clicked page up by accident here. Anyway, the number 57 will get binary string to equal the string 100111. Look at my converter on the right hand side versus what I just wrote into this comment. They're reversed from each other. The idea here is, unfortunately, I'm gluing things from left to right, but the number I'm looking for should have had the digits from right to left. So we can easily split that. So for example, when we do the splitting right here, the string 100111 becomes the array 1, comma, it's a lot of quotes here, sorry about that, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. I'm going to kind of copy this because I think it might be easy to just kind of do a copy paste change sort of deal here. Because now when we reverse it, I'm going to say, for example, this becomes it's going to be 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. Let me widen this just a little bit so it all fits in one line. So when I do the reverse, my 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1 becomes the array 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. And then finally, join is a method that is built into JavaScript. It does it for arrays. Basically, it glues an array together into a string. So, for example, if I have 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1 as an array, joining on the empty string right here will join this together to make the string 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1 rather than the array. And then my return statement says to spit that data out. So I would return the string 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, which is the binary equivalent of the decimal number 57. Alright, so hopefully that was helpful, guys. Sorry if there's any bad audio quality. I know I don't have the best microphone on this computer, but once you guys add the couple comments you needed to add, and once your program is working, you guys can zip this up and turn it in. The one other thing I'm going to ask is if you can check with the people sitting in your row, and if there's anybody who needs debugging help. You know how it goes. Having an extra set of eyes is very, very helpful, and since I'm not here today to be that extra set of eyes, if you guys can help out the folks in your row, if you could try to find the things in the answer key that I handed out that need to make it onto your row members' paper, that would be or onto their computer, that would be very, very helpful. All right, guys, have a great day. Check Schoology to see what we have upcoming for deadlines. We have a multiple choice due later this week and some other stuff coming up. So check out Schoology. Turn in this for points. It is worth some points. And have a great day. Bye-bye.